Hi, this is Munson with Munson Music, and we're going to kind of talk about the lead licks from Sweet Child of Mine. This is kind of an add-on into my Easy Strum video for Sweet Child of Mine, and I love this song. So we're not doing this in drop tuning, we're doing it in standard tuning so you can kind of match it up with the other video that I have up. But we're going to start and kind of go over a lot of the cool lead licks that the Slash kind of plays through the tune. And on that intro part, actually, where you've got kind of the D major, and then the C major, and the G major, and the D major, actually, for our intro, actually there's some really cool licks that work around what are called arpeggios of those chords, but further up the neck. And what an arpeggio is where you're breaking up the chord. So instead of strumming the entire chord, you kind of play little pieces of it, and you may adjust those for particular sounds that sound cool. And so this first arpeggio actually is all around a D major chord, but we're playing it up over the neck. So you may want to start with first finger on the 12th fret on the D string, second finger on the G string on the 14, and third finger on the B string on the 15. So you kind of got it lined up already as kind of that 12, 14, 15 actually between the D and the G and the B. But we play 12 on the D string first, and then go to 15 on the B, and then 14 on the G, and then 12 on the G, and then we go to the high E on the 15, and then 14 on the G string, and then 14 on the high E string, and then back to the 14 on the G string. And all those G string notes, actually I'm working a second finger, so I'm doing a little bit of a stretch there, but I think that makes it a little bit easier to kind of get back, and you can actually kind of line it up to the second finger. So the notes you're actually playing is you're going D to D, A, G, G, A, F sharp, A. And what's really cool about the other licks that kind of get added in is that lick stays the same, but the first note changes, which is cool. So on the C chord, you'd be going to the 14 on the D string first, but then you go right to the 15 on the B, 14 on the G, 12 on the G, high E 15, G string 14, high E 14, G string 14. So that would kind of become like what we would end up playing over our C chord. So we'd end up doing all of these licks actually twice, sort of, except for we got the D lick at the beginning happens twice at the beginning, twice at the end. But then for the G chord, we go to a G note on the 12th fret to start the lick, and then we go to the 15 on the B, 14 on the G, 12 on the G, 15 on the high E, 14 on the G, 14 on the high E, 14 on the G. So that becomes our G lick through it. It's kind of that G, D, A, G, G, A, F sharp, A. So all the way through that whole intro part, actually, you've got kind of the D lick that starts it off, and then you do another D lick, and then after the D lick, then you go to the C lick where you're adding in 14 on the D string, and you do that twice. And then after that, then we go to the G on the 12 for kind of the G lick, and then we do that again because we got two G chords, and then from there we go back to the D chord and kind of do our D lick from the beginning again, and then you start it over again by playing that D lick again. And so it's a lot of that D lick. Now while that lick is going on, actually that second time through or third time through, there's this really cool little bass lead part actually, and sometimes I like stealing parts from other instruments, and if you watch some of my videos you probably knew that. So what could be kind of cool, and I say that actually, there's this cool little lead off lick, the last D, if you want to kind of add this in. It's almost like a tag to that lick where you play 12th fret on the high E string, 14 on the G string, and then 15 on the B, and then 12 or 14 on the G, and so I'm leaving kind of first finger and second finger down through this lick because you keep on coming back actually to that second fret on the G string through this lick. So we go 12 on the high E, 14 on the G, 15 on the B, 14 on the G, 12 on the high E, 14 on the G, 14 on the high E, and then 14 on the G, 15 on the high E, 14 on the G, 14 on the high E, 14 on the G, 12 on the high E, and then 14 on the G, and then you can kind of end on 15 on the B. So that's a little weird, that E, A, D, A, E, A, F sharp, A, G, A, F sharp, A, E, A, D. It's kind of a cool little tag for that intro lick. Now that whole intro lick though is kind of working around those arpeggios, and actually that bass lick that comes in is kind of doing the same thing. Actually around a D major chord you got kind of a D note on the A string on the 5th fret, a 4th fret on the D string is kind of an F sharp note, and the 7th fret on the D string is kind of an A note. And actually those three notes together, D, F sharp, and A, are kind of a D chord. So are the notes that can make up a D chord. So that intro lick for the bass actually starts 5 on the A, 4 on the D, 4 on the D, 5 on the D, 7 on the D, and then we take the 7 and kind of slide it to 9th fret on the D, and then we go back to 7 on the D, 5 on the D, and then 4 on the D, and then 5 on the A. So you're kind of working around that D, F sharp, and A note. So you're going D, F sharp, G, A, B, A, G, F sharp, D. And then for the C chord, you're kind of playing C on the A string on the 3rd fret. And then we go to 5th fret on the D string for kind of a G note. And actually the other note that kind of makes the C chord is the 2nd fret on the D string actually. And this whole lick is kind of working around C, E, and G, which are the 3 notes that make a C chord. So you're going 3, 5, and then we go down to 3 on the D, 2nd on the D, 3rd on the A, 3rd on the D, 2nd on the D, and then 3rd on the A. So we're going C, G, F, E, C, F, E, C. And then at the end, we're kind of working around a G major chord actually, and the 3 notes that would make that up, we'd have 3 on the low E string, and then randomly 2nd fret on the A string if you're looking at shapes actually. And then 5th fret on the A string is kind of a D note, so you're going G, G, B, and D are kind of the 3 notes that make that G chord. But we actually end up kind of breaking those up a different way by playing 3rd on the low E string, and then we go to the D string or A string on the 5th fret for a D note, G string or D string on the 5th fret for a G note. So it's kind of starting out almost like a power chord idea, kind of that 3, 5, 5, 3, 5, 5. And then from there, then we go kind of back into the that 5th fret on the D string, 4th fret on the D string, and then and then we go 5, 4 on the D string, 5 on the A, and then we kind of carry that out. 5, 4, 5, 5, 4, 5, 5, 4, 5, because we're working a lot of that G, F sharp, D kind of note that's around the G. So all together, you got the 5, 4, 4, 5, 7, 7, 9, 7, 5, 4, 5, 3, 5, 3, 2, 3, 3, 2, 3, 3, 5, 5, and then the 5, 4, 5, 5, 4, 5, 5, 4, 5, 5, 4, 5. So that could be kind of a cool thing to kind of add in too. And then basically through the tune, actually, there's also some kind of cool parts when we end up on our chorus part for the A. And what you may want to do is kind of use like little arpeggios around the chords for this part too. So if you kind of took your first finger and laid it over 14th fret, or over the D and the G and the B, we kind of end up breaking that up kind of through these chorus licks. We play the D string 14, B string 14, G string on the 14, and then D string on the 14, but then we go to 15 on the B string for kind of a D note, and then 14's already down with the bar right on the G string 14, and then you lift it off for kind of 14 on the B, 14 on the G. So you're going D, B, G, D, 15, 14, 14, 14, kind of working around that. And then for the C chord through the chorus, you've got the 3rd fret or 13th fret on the B string as kind of a C note, kind of around the C chord actually is how this is working. So you play the C twice, and then G string 12, and then G string 10, but then we go high E 12, G string 12, and then high E 10, and then G string 12, and then we end up going back into kind of our intro D lick from the very beginning. So if you wanted to kind of work the lead part around that, you kind of have the A major arpeggio. We're going 14, 14, 14, 14, 15, 14, 14, 14, and then the C chord arpeggio, we got 13, 13, 12, 10, 12, 12, 10, 12, and then we get back to our intro part where we got the 12, 15, 14, 12, 15, 14, 14, 14, or D, D, A, G, G, A, F sharp, A. So you want to kind of play around with that. Now the first solo is actually very, very hip too, actually, and actually that's what we really need to talk about from there, because you got a lot of the verse, a lot of the chorus. But the first solo, we start out 10th fret on the B string, and then 8 on the B string, and then 7 on the B string, and then we repeat that idea. So we kind of got 10, 8, 7, and then the second time around we go to 10, 8 on the B string again, but then we go to 9th fret on the G string, and then we do that lick again, 10, 8, 9, and then we end up going back to that 10, 8 idea on the B string again, 10, 8, but then we go to the 10 on the B and do a bend, and then we go to 8 on the B, and then we go back to the 10 on the B for a bend, and then we go high 10, and then we do 10th fret bend, and then Slash does an unbelievably crazy bend on the 9th fret on the G string, which is ridiculous. Which, if you're on acoustic like I am right now, a good way to cheat that is to do a 9th fret to 11th fret slide on the G string at the end. So all together you're going A, G, F sharp, A, G, F sharp, A, A, G, E, A, G, E, A, G, A bend, G, A bend, B, D bend, E bend, through that first solo. And then on the second solo, actually, it almost starts out the same way. And this is always a good idea in your solos, actually. It makes it really melodic if you use a lot of the same ideas and, kind of develop the idea through time. So it starts out with that same lick where we got that 10, 8, 7, 10, 8, 7 twice. And then we do the 10, 8, 9 twice. 10, 8, 9 on the G. But then we do 10, 8 on the B string. And then we do another 10, 8 on the B string. And then this becomes all about the B string on the 7th fret as a bend. So you go to 7th fret on the B string and kind of do a bend on the 7th fret on the B. Go to 7 on the G. And you may want to even kind of try and set your finger up so you can kind of almost roll one finger into that G string, which is kind of a tricky, cool rock technique. And then we go back to that B string bend again on the 7. And then we go to the high E on the 10. And then we go back to that 7th fret bend on the B string again. So all together we got 10, 8, 7, 10, 8, 7, 10, 8, 9, 10, 8, 9, 10, 8, 10, 8, 7 bend, 9, 7 bend, 10, 7 bend. And then we go back and almost start that over again for the second half of that solo. So we go back to that 10, 8, 7, 10, 8, 7, but then we kind of rush the 7 to go to 10th fret on the B and do a slide to 12th fret. So I'm kind of playing 10, keeping enough pressure with the finger down to carry the sound to 12th fret. And then we go to high E 10, 12 on the B, and then we go to 13 on the B string, and then 12 on the high E string, and another 12 on the high E string. But then we do a 12th fret to 10th fret pull off. So you may want to kind of set up both fingers. I'm using third finger on the 12th, first finger on the 10. To kind of play the 12th fret and kind of just let my third finger fall off to let the sound carry. And then we play another 10, but then we do that same idea, and you may want to set this back up for kind of a 10 to 8 pull off. And then we set it back up for kind of an 8 to 7 pull off. And then we go to 8 on the B string, 7 on the G, 10th fret bend on the B string, 8 on the B, 10th fret bend on the B, high E 10, 10th fret bend on the B or high E string. And then we go all the way to 17th fret, which is ridiculously high, on the B string, and do a bend, and then play 17 on the high E string. So I'm actually kind of doing that second finger with first finger behind it to get the pressure on, and then using my third finger to kind of hit that 17 at the end. So all together on that second half of the solo, you got 10, 8, 7, 10, 8, 7, 10, slide, 12, 10, 12, 13, 12, 12, 12, 10, 10, 10, 8, 8, 8, 7, 8, 7, 10, bend, 8, 10, bend, 10, 10, bend, 17, bend, 17. It's kind of that second half of the solo. And then from there, actually, we go into our last solo, which is ridiculously crazy cool. So this is where our E minor and C and the B7 and the A major chord are going on. And on this last solo, this is kind of crazy, but you could go all the way to 17th fret on the high E string and do a bend, and then we go 17 on the high E, 15 on the high E, 14 on the high E, and then a 14, 15, 14 hammer-on pull-off on the high E string. So I'm kind of playing 14, putting my second finger down to carry it to 15, and then kind of letting it fall off back to 14. And then we go 17 on the B, and then we go back to 15 on the high E string, 14 on the high E, and then we do that hammer-on pull-off again, and then we go to 17 on the B, and then 16 on the B, and then 17 on the B, 14 on the high E, but then we go to 15 on the B string as kind of a bend, and you might want to get other fingers behind that actually to kind of help bend. And then we go to 12 on the B, 14 bend on the G, 12 on the G, and then we go to 11 on the G string and do kind of a hammer-on pull-off idea there for 11 to 12 to 11, and then we go to 14 on the D string. So through that part, you got 17 bend, 17, 15, 14, 14, 15, 14, 17, 15, 14, 14, 15, 14, 17, 16, 17, 14, 15 bend, 12, 14 bend, 12, 11, 12, 11, 14. And then from there we go back to the 11 on the G and kind of do a double hammer on from 11 to 12 to 14. So I'm playing my first finger, putting my second finger to carry the sound, putting the third finger actually as kind of a stretch on the 14. And then we go to 12th fret on the B and do a bend. And then we play 12 on the B, 14 on the G, and then we go to 13 on the B string for another bend. and another 13 on the B, and then 12th fret on the B string twice, and then 12th fret on the B bend, and then 14 on the G, and then 15 on the high E string bend. So we got 11, 14, 12, 12, 14, 13, 13, 12, 12, 12 bend, 14, 15. And then from there, then we're going to 7th fret on the B string and kind of doing a bend there. And then we go to 9th fret on the G twice. And then we go back to the 7th fret on the B string for another bend. And then we go to the G string 9 twice. And then we go to 8th fret on the G and do a bend. And then we do an 8th fret to an 11th fret slide. So that's kind of weird, kind of doing the 8, 11 slide. And then we do another 11 bend. And then we go to 9 on the G, and then 9 on the D bend, and then 7 on the D, and then back to 9 on the D. So you got 7 bend, 9, 9, 7 bend, 9, 9, 8 bend, 8, slide to 11, 11 bend, 9, 9 bend, 7, 9. And then we go to the 9th fret on the G, and then kind of do that 7th fret bend on the B again, and then we go 9, 9 on the G, and then 8 bend on the G again, and then do that 8, 11 slide it one more time. And then we go into almost kind of a crazy impossible lick, because Slash actually overdubs this in the recording and recorded 2 guitar tracks over each other. But you can kind of fake this, and it would kind of work like this. You go 14 on the G, 12 on the B, 13 on the B, 12 on the B, 14 on the G, 12 on the B, 13 on the B, 12 on the B, 13 on the B, 16 on the B, 12 on the high E, 14 on the high E, 16 on the B, 12 on the high E, and then 14 on the high E, 15 on the high E, and then 12 on the high E, 14 on the high E, 15 on the high E, 17 on the high E, 15 on the high E, 14 on the high E, and then we go to 15 bends like crazy on the B string 3 times, and then we go 12 on the B, and then back to 15 bends, and then 12 on the B, and then 15 bends, and then a 15 bend, but you can do it as a pull-off. So it's kind of a bend with 15, pull off to 12. That's kind of weird. And then we go to 17 on the high, and then do a bend. So that was kind of crazy. We got 14, 12, 13, 12, 14, 12, 13, 12, 13, 16, 12, 14, 16, 12, 14, 15, 12, 14, 15, 17, 15, 14, 15, bend, 15, 12, 15, 15, 15, 12, 15, 15, 15, 12, 17. So you may want to kind of play around with that. Now Slash is the kind of guitar player though that is very open to playing whatever he's feeling at that particular moment. And so it can also be kind of cool actually, and what you may want to do is kind of check out, actually I have a video on something called the Pentatonic map, which is all about E minor pentatonic. Actually, there's lots of ways to play E minor pentatonic. It's a cool lead scale. It's basically all your open strings. You're playing G's and A's and B's and D's and E's. So the easiest way to play a pentatonic scale is straight across the guitar. And if you're really interested in this, actually, there are a lot of places you could play those notes on the guitar. So you can play E's and G's and A's and B's and D's all open, or you could go to 3rd fret on the low E string, 2nd on the A, 2nd on the D, 2nd on the G, 3rd on the B, 3rd on the high E string. Kind of be other places you can play those notes, or all the 5th fret notes are part of it except for G's 4. So that could be kind of a cool thing to do, or kind of playing around with where those notes are. And then on the 7th fret, all of those notes are part of the pentatonic except for 8 on the B string. So you kind of have 7, 7, 7, 7, 8, 7. And then from there, the next piece would kind of be 10, 10 on the E and A, 9, 9 on the D and G, and then 10, 10 on the high string. So it's 10, 10, 9, 9, 10, 10. And then the next piece would be all the 12th frets over the entire 12th fret, because all the opens are part of it, and those are the same notes. And then from there, it would start over again. So then you'd have 15 is like 3rd fret, 14 is like 2nd fret, 14, 14, 15, 15. And a lot of times these get taught as kind of putting together into 2-note patterns, which can be a very cool way of kind of working it. The reason why the pentatonic map can be very cool is it gives you a really cool way of kind of moving around through all those patterns actually. But those are good to know. And you may want to take actually some of the technical things that we were talking about through the video actually with the lead parts. And you may want to kind of try and play around with those in those patterns, like doing bends, you know, or pull-offs, or hammer-ons, or slides. So you may want to kind of play around with that and kind of take that more as an alphabet. love that type of idea. And if you're really interested in playing more lead, actually you could go and check out that video on talking with the guitar, the Pentatonic map video. And there's lots of lead options with that. But anyway, but that's the basics of how you could play some of the leads and kind of work lead guitar parts through Sweet Child of Mine by Guns N' Roses. So good luck!